tried to film and the babies woke up. We're just gonna do this video with a little baby, with Griffin, and hopefully he doesn't make too much noise. He's a bit of a grunter, so sorry about that. Okay, so just shush. So this video is all about what I didn't expect from the C-section. That being said, my C-section was planned. It was not an emergency C-section. So with an emergency C-section, I'm sure the experience is different. Excuse me. Oh my God, I just had okay. But yeah, so mine was a planned scheduled C-section. So it's a little bit of a different experience than a emergency C-section, but they are still really similar, and a lot of the things that I didn't expect I hear are pretty common. The first thing that I didn't expect was being so panicked going in. So I've had surgeries before. I've had a knee surgery when I was 15. I was completely fine going in. Like, I had a bit of anxiety. I mean, you're 15 having knee surgery, like you're gonna have anxiety, but it wasn't like this. I legit had like an anxiety attack going in to the surgery room when they were, right before they put in an epidural, and I literally told them, I was like, prepare for a panic attack because I can already feel it coming on. They had to give me like anti-anxiety medications to calm me down, but once they went in, then I was fine, but there was that initial panic. And I think it was mostly because the epidural, like I hear like horror stories about the epidural, how women are like partially paralyzed, or like they lose sensation in their foot, or they don't gain sensation back, and like all of these different things that you hear. And I was just really, really scared that something like that was going to happen to me. I also had, like I said, I've had surgeries before, and usually in the recovery, there's always like a complication that happens with me. I don't know why, but I was kind of like expecting that was going to happen. And then my pregnancy was obviously a twin pregnancy, so it was a more risky pregnancy, and I had really low iron, so there was like the potential of me having massive amounts of blood loss and having to get a transfusion and like all these things. And then you hear, like, you watch movies and stuff, and the women die during childbirth because of a blood clot, or like something like that happens in like recovery. So literally my head was just filled with all these bad possibilities that could potentially happen. So I had like a little bit of a panic attack. Also, why I didn't expect it is because literally, like, it took, I think it was like 3 or 4 days of just like, oh, you're gonna have a C-section on Monday, and it was Thursday when I found out. So it was really fast in the sense of like I didn't have time to wrap my head around having a C-section already. And then when we went in, I was supposed to get my surgery 6 hours from the time that I got into the hospital. It ended up being an hour, and I was in the surgery room. So it was like really fast, and I was not shush. And I was not prepared to be like the first surgery that they were having that day. So that's also why there was just a lot of compounding things that were happening. So the next one that I didn't expect was the surgery to be so fast. I was expecting the surgery to be like a couple hours at least, and the surgery was like 30-45 minutes. The majority of that time is them stitching you up. It took a little longer because I was having a panic attack, so it took a little bit longer to get the epidural in and stuff. But once that was happening, they cut me, and then in a couple minutes baby number 1 was born, and then 5 minutes later baby number 2 was born. Then they were they clean up like the afterbirth, and then they sew you up, and they sew you up layer by layer. It takes a bit, and that's the thing that took the longest was, but the surgery itself was like super duper fast. And because I was on anti-anxiety medication, it went by even faster because I was in such like a daze of what was happening. Everything felt like 5 minutes. Okay, so the next one is how much pain you feel after the drugs go away. So I was expecting my recovery to be very similar to my knee surgery, obviously because that's like the only surgery that I have had to go off of. The pain was crazy when the drugs start fading out. When you get into your recovery room, the nurses want to get like the dye off, like the iodine or whatever they put on you to sanitize you or whatever. They want to roll you, and that was so excruciating. The pain, it was so bad. I couldn't believe it, because you see these women who have had C-sections, they're like, oh yeah, I had a C-section, and they're like functioning, like they're fine. And like even after, like you see like these birth vlogs or whatever of them in the hospital and they're completely fine, they look like it, and they're not fine. We're just so tough that we don't let others see our pain. And it's hard because it sucks for other women that are like looking to these people as examples of like, oh, she just had a C-section, so if I have a C-section, I'm gonna be like that. And you turn out to be like in a lot of pain. It's very painful in multiple ways. There's like the nurses turning you, which I really, really hated. Anytime that you sat up, anytime that you had to go pee, walking the first time hurts. Gas in your abdominal cavity is unreal, like because they move your organs out of the way. Sometimes they even remove your organs, like your bladder and your uterus and everything like that. There's a lot of like movement, and your organs are kind of like, why am I being moved? Then there's a lot of gas built up when they close you up. That really, really hurts. It's so painful. Your uterine contractions, so after you have kids, your uterus obviously will contract to go back to the size that it was before you have kids, but they say that the more pregnancies you have, the more intense your uterine contractions are. Then if you also have multiple pregnancy, then like with twins or triplets or whatever, then it's even more painful because your uterus has to constrict that much more to get down. My uterine contractions were so painful. They literally felt like birthing contractions. Like people say like, oh, you'll get like a little bit of cramping, it'll feel like a period and it'll be fine. No, mine felt like birthing contractions. I had to breathe through them. They lasted for about a minute and a half, and my pain went from a 1 all the way to an 8 in like seconds. Like it sucked. And it was every time I breastfed and every time I pumped, which is a lot, and it was awful. Even the nurses were like, I don't know why you're in so much pain. And then you also have to think about like all the other pain. Like I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but I didn't expect like all of the poking and all the blood work and all the shots and going pee and having your catheter taken out, and just like everything hurts. Everything you do hurts at the hospital. There's some sort of pain involved and it sucks. And I think it's because I didn't expect it that much because I had a natural home birth with Theo. So then I didn't get my blood work. Oh my God, I literally jumped. What are you doing? I literally didn't get blood work, and I didn't get like the shot. There's this shot that they give you at the hospital, and it's for blood clots, and it's to make sure that you don't get blood clots, and they go on your legs, and it hurts so bad. It's like this lingering stinging, and I got bruised from it. Like I had bruises on my legs from these things, and they give it to you every 24 hours after a certain amount of time, and I was like dreading being there another day. Like I was like, am I going home today? Am I going home today? And they're like, yeah, you're going home. I'm like, okay, good. So I don't need one of those shots. So like, no, we need one of those shots. I'm like, okay, that's all I care about. I don't want to stay another day because that means that I would have to get another one of those shots. Everything you do at a hospital just freaking hurts. So the fourth thing I didn't expect was still feeling things after you get your epidural. Like you still feel things. Like I thought that you were completely frozen, but apparently you aren't. You just lose like your pain sensation. But I still felt like tugging, pushing. They push on you a lot. Like I felt like almost like when you're on a waterbed. Do you remember waterbeds? When I was a kid, someone had a waterbed. I don't know who, but it was like that weird sloshy feeling. That's like what it felt like when they pushed on my belly. And like they're pulling, tugging the stitches and stuff like that. Like you feel it. and it's weird. It's super duper weird. However, I kind of liked it, not gonna lie, because then I knew what they were kind of doing. Like I could kind of guess. So I wasn't really focusing on what was like happening around me. I was like focusing on the touch feeling, and I was trying to guess where they were in the surgery. Oh, they're pulling the baby out, or they're stitching me up, or that must be this sensation, which was kind of good because it made me not focus on the things that were giving me anxiety. Okay, Shane has to deal with Theo. It is like 9 at night right now that I'm filming this. So another thing that I didn't expect was the lack of postpartum bleeding. So with Theo, I bled a lot. So then this one, I was fully prepared for like weeks of postpartum stuff. I had a stash of lady supplies, and can you not? And I didn't use like over half of them because I stopped bleeding after 2 weeks. Even when I came home, it was like 4 days after. I wasn't using thick pads anymore. I was using like the light pads or like the panty liners. Like it was so pathetic. I mean, that's a good thing, but also like I got all this postpartum stuff now. That being said, that might not happen to you. So if you're looking at this for like advice on what to do or like prep with your C-section, still prepare for postpartum bleeding because everybody's different. And I heard there's some people that have C-sections and then they're bleeding for weeks on end. But another one, and almost the biggest one, this one surprised me the most. I didn't expect the recovery to take so long. So everybody says that the recovery takes long, which is fine, but they also say that the recovery is 6 weeks and you're fine. You can work out, you can be sexually active, you can do what you gotta do, but that's not true. Majority of the time, 6 weeks is like how long it takes for the beginnings of your scar to heal. It's not just the outside scar that's healing, it's every single layer that they stitched. Jeez Louise, man. It's every little layer of muscle and fascia and everything that they stitched needs to heal, and I still feel pain. I still overdo it. I can still feel the tugging sensation on my incision area, and that's all normal. The thing is you use your pelvic floor for everything. Every little move, and your pelvic floor holds you up, so it's used a lot. And it can be overworked by just you holding yourself up when you sit. Like even driving is hard because you're using your feet, and that will activate your pelvis. And it's just like all connected. And so overworking yourself is extremely easy. And when you start to feel good, you want to do things around the house, and then all of a sudden you can't stand up anymore. You have to lay down, or you have to take a nap, or you feel bruised the next day and you realize you overworked yourself. It's an ongoing cycle, I find, at least for me. And then also, this didn't happen with me because I'm not a new mom. I have had a first baby before the twins, so this didn't happen to me, but this is something that I heard from a friend. When you have a C-section, you're out of commission, so you can't do your momly duties. Sometimes you can't even pick up your baby. Sometimes you can't even like bathe your baby. You can't pick up the car seat. Like it's all too hard and you need so much help. So as a new mom, you feel like incompetent. You feel like you're being a bad mom because you can't do these things right away. But that's not true. You're healing from a massive surgery. And people downplay it so much. Like it is a massive surgery. You need to heal as well. My pelvic floor physiotherapy lady or therapist, she told me that it like takes 12 weeks for you to start like feeling like better. That the 6 week okay is like shouldn't be a thing. And it's not, you're not supporting women when you just say, okay, it's been 6 weeks now, you can do this, you can do all the things and like be sexually active and you're fine. And then that's it. That's the last appointment you have. You have no other support from like the medical area at all. You're not recommended to go see a pelvic floor physiotherapist. Like my midwife always recommended pelvic floor physio, and that's how I know about it. But like my OB didn't say anything. He was just like, yeah, you can do normal things, when actually I can't do normal things. I literally talked to my pelvic floor therapist the same day, and she was like, you shouldn't be doing this, just to make sure, because you are healing and your nervous system is shot, and so you don't want to like add anything to your nervous system because it will just create another problem. Also, it takes even longer to heal if you're breastfeeding, because the breastfeeding hormones make everything more relaxed and like elasticy, so it doesn't firm up the way that if you weren't breastfeeding it would. It takes a long time to get back to normal. But yeah, so as I was saying, so your body has to heal from a massive surgery that you just had, where layers of your tissue were cut open and organs were pulled out of your body and put back in. Like, it's a big thing. And then also that you have to heal from that while taking care of a tiny human now, while producing milk, so energy's going there, while being sleep deprived. And then you even have to, your brain and your organs have to reconnect on what their jobs are, because there's more room now, so your bladder's kind of like, whoa, I don't know what to do. So you can have problems like with incontinence and everything like that. It's a lot for your body, and the signals from your organs to your brain have to kind of go back to the way that they were. So people underestimate a C-section and the recovery it takes and how long it takes. And I have like a newfound respect for people that have C-sections, because before it was no, like in my mind, it's just like, okay, yeah, like you had surgery. So like, even there's definitely no easy way. Birth is birth, because you deal with different things. We all have our things that we have to deal with. Both of situations are hard. People, I remember in high school, would say, oh, I'm just gonna opt out for a C-section because I don't want the pain, or I don't want the baby to wreck my body coming out. C-sections are painful in recovery. C-sections wreck your body because you have a lot of recovery, and if you don't recover properly, then that can start other problems. They're both not easy. Me, I feel as though I gave birth to Theo, but I didn't birth the twins. I feel that way because of the experience I had with Theo and feeling the contractions and like actually pushing my baby out. But that's me. But I also realize that birth is birth, because a lot of women don't get to experience both, and you're still birthing your baby. You're still celebrating the moment that your baby comes into the world, and you're still going through things to bring that baby into the world. Your body is still preparing for natural birth, even if you did a C-section, whether it was emergency or a scheduled C-section, your body has still prepped for it. Your pelvis has still taken on a bunch of weight, so your pelvic floor still needs help to get back to normal, no matter the type of birth. So my tip for any new mom to be, or anybody who just had a baby, no matter if it was natural or C-section, please go see a pelvic floor physiotherapist if you have not. They're amazing. They help you so much in your recovery, speed it up. They find things that maybe your doctor didn't find, or they even helped me with long-term nervous system pain that I had. I would definitely recommend that you go. For C-section people, they help you with scar therapy. That weird numb feeling that you get on your scar, sometimes it gives people like the heebie-jeebies. They help you with scar therapy. They help you with diastasis recti. If you have that, I do, from having twins. Thank you so much for spending your time with me tonight and little Griffin. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do, and hit that bell button for notifications on my next coming videos. Hope to see you later. Bye.